This podcast is hosted by licensed therapists, but it is not a substitute for therapy. The content is for informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute professional advice or a therapeutic relationship. If you are in need of mental health support, we encourage you to consult a licensed mental health provider in your area. I'm Dr. Marissa Eusebio.
I'm Dr. Anna Barus.
We are licensed psychologists and we're moms, but we are not your mother's therapist. Welcome to the first episode of Not Your Mother's Therapist.
Yes, here we are. How did we get here? What are we doing here?
Why are we here?
Why are we here?
Well, I think one of the most important reasons that we're here is because we are pissed.
Yeah, I think we're pissed. I think we're quite pissed. Did you think you would be here? Like, if I would have told you 6 months ago, Marissa, in 6 months we're going to be doing a podcast and quitting our jobs, would you have thought that we would be here?
Absolutely not. No,
Yeah.
not at all. And
No.
actually, I think it was maybe 3 months ago, I actually very distinctly told you, I'm not leaving our job.
I know.
I was very upfront and adamant with you, like, I'm not leaving our job. And yet here we are.
Yeah, here we are. So why are we here? Do you want to kind of tell your story a little bit first?
Yeah, I mean, I can get started. I mean, I think really the moment that led me to right here, right now is I am about 5.5 months, going on 6 months postpartum. And
You want to say how many kids you have?
yeah, that's probably a good idea. I've got 2 kids, an almost 3-year-old and a 5.5-month-old. So I am in the throes of postpartum right now. And I was maybe 3 months postpartum, and it was a few weeks before I was supposed to go back to work. And I just had this pull, like, I don't want to go back yet. I don't want to go back full time. Like, I just want more time with my baby. And I advocated for myself. I talked to my supervisor, advocated for part-time, and he denied me. And so I very distinctively remember sitting on my couch with my baby in my hands, and I'm on the phone with my supervisor, and he's basically telling me, I'm really sorry, but we deny your request for part-time work got denied. You have to come back in full-time. And I just hung up the phone and started bawling. And I am also, I think it's worth saying, I am generally not a crier. That is not how I usually express emotion. So I know that if I'm crying, it's something big. It's something that means a lot to me. And so I hang up the phone and I'm bawling.
Yeah.
But in that moment, it didn't feel like I had any other options. I was like, well, this is it. Like, I have to go back to work in a few weeks, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I was not experiencing postpartum depression, but every time I thought about going back to work, the depression hit. And it was only about this isolated thought about going back to work. And then, like, 3 days later, I woke up just absolutely pissed off.
Yeah.
Pissed off that I worked my ass off to get where I'm at in life. And then somebody is going to tell me how much time I get to spend with my kids or what I do with my time.
What is it all for?
What is it all for? And here we are.
Here we are.
That's how I got here when I decided I was going to resign. In that moment, I was like, I'm done. I'm going to resign. They're not going to give me part-time. I'm going to resign.
I think a big reason why we even wanted to start off kind of this entire podcast and this first episode talking about that is because I think about how many moms are in that same position.
Right.
Of debating it, of not knowing whether this is the right move, delaying it, just the sadness that comes along with it. And you sent me a little clip from Instagram the other day of like a mom having to drop off her kid at daycare, and I was like, I couldn't even watch it.
No.
I saw like 5 seconds of it, and I was like, I can't watch, because I feel that so deeply, like this like urge, this like a primal thing to just want to be near your children, and it feels like society is pulling you away all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really, and we're psychologists, so we see moms. We see parents having to go through this all the time, and we happen to be moms ourselves, so we're just like, yeah,
Fuck that.
oh my gosh.
So why are you here?
Why am I here? Probably the same reason, as you. I did it a little bit earlier, so I did it like I was like, Marissa, I'm quitting. And then you're like, well, I'm staying. I'm definitely not going anywhere at all. And I was like, okay, I guess she's not going anywhere. And here we are. But, you know me, I had been debating it. So I have a 2.5-year-old, and then I have a 1-year-old. And I think that as soon as I had my second is when the thoughts started coming in. And I think maybe like the emotional, like, heaviness of having to go back to work really kicked in for me. It was easier with my first, I think. But you know how it is, like you forget stuff all the time. Maybe I was fucking bawling my eyes out and I don't remember. But it did feel harder with my second one to go back to work. And I remember like our nanny, you know, we had our nanny for 2 years. She was awesome. She was great. And then she was graduating, so we had to find a new nanny. And if you've ever dove into the nanny world, it is quite the thing to figure out. I mean, you have to kind of sort through like 90% of people that like you wouldn't even trust them with like your hamster or your goldfish to find like one that you think like maybe this person isn't going to kill my baby, like, right. and then you hire that person. But I remember, so we hired our nanny, and she was very well qualified. And on the first day, I was handing over my then, like, you know, what was he, like 4 months old or something. I was handing him over to her. And I swear to you, in the moment, in the transition from my hands to her hands, before it even reached her hands, I was like, I'm quitting. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. And at the time, I'm the bread maker too. So a big reason why I held off for a long time is because I was like, well, how are we in this economy? How are we financially going to afford me, the breadwinner, quitting? And so that's what held me off. I was like, you know, we're able to have a certain lifestyle right now because of my income, and quitting, I don't know what that would mean for us. And if we're able to, I mean, we'd have to cut back a lot, right? In handing over my baby, in that moment, I was like, whatever the consequences are, I will figure them out. I will start a coffee stand. I don't know, but I am not going to work full time. I'm just not. I can't do this. It is miserable. And also just working. So I did work for a little bit with 2 kids. And it's a freaking nightmare, dude, especially with a newborn, because there's like, they have like 500 different medical appointments in their first year of life. So then you're like, oh, and my 2-year-old has an appointment. Oh, and you have an appointment. And then who's taking it? Are you going to take the sick day? Am I going to take the sick day? What are we doing with the nanny? Who's eating what? What are they eating for lunch? Oh, he started solids now. So we have to like, oh my God, the amount of coordination is just, it was overwhelming. It was too much. And I'm also like working like full time. I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to be like at home making muffins with my kids. That's all I want to be doing. So then 2 weeks later, I was like, I'm quitting, which is crazy.
Right.
Which is crazy for us.
Yes. I think that's the important part.
Yes.
This is wild for
us. It was never planned.
No.
Did you ever think that you would want to stop working full time and take care of your kids?
No. And actually, when me and my husband, way back in the day, when we first were dating, this was like well before grad school and all those things, I told him, I have so much respect for stay-at-home moms, and I am not going to be a stay-at-home mom. This is just not my path. I want children. I want a family. And I was like, I'm going into grad school. I'm getting my PhD. This is what's happening.
We're studying forever.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have both. And here I am.
Here we are.
So maybe we should talk a little bit about how we got, like who we are.
Who are you? Yeah. What do we do?
Right.
So we're reproductive mental health psychologists. And I know that that's not like a commonly used thing out there. So a lot of people don't know what that is. Reproductive mental health psychologists are basically, you know, we're therapists, and we deal with all the life stages, the reproductive life stages of a person's life. So it could be you know, perinatal, postpartum, perimenopause, menopause, life after menopause, motherhood, you know, everything before that too, PCOS, all those different things, anything that's related to reproduction, and then also the struggles that come along with that mental health wise, we work with, including like, you know, hey, deciding you don't want kids, and, you know, considering the pros and cons of that, and all of those different things. That's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I think a good chunk of what we see is a lot of parents in the postpartum period, because that's kind of a huge transition for a lot of people. So that's a big part of what we do is postpartum work.
And I want to say too, that if you are a fella and you're listening, you're like, oh, this doesn't apply to me. No, it absolutely applies to you.
No,
I
it
promise
absolutely
you.
applies
And we
to you.
actually love when we have dads and men come into the clinic who are experiencing postpartum depression, or their spouse or partner is going through fertility treatments and they don't know how to support them and they feel like at a loss, right? Or they're struggling with transitioning to being a father, right? All of those things. Or, you know, your spouse is going through menopause and you're like, what do I do with this, right? We also work with men who are experiencing some of those things.
And it's not just that we work with men, like we're very passionate about working with men that are struggling, because I feel like the men today, the dads today, are not their dads anymore. You know, they're incredibly involved today compared to any other time in history, basically.
Right.
And the amount of support that they're getting for how involved they are is embarrassing. It's embarrassing is what it is. And we've talked about, I mean, we're going to, like, look, trust me, we're going to have a bunch of episodes on dads. We might do like a whole series, because, you know, there was just so many times where I feel like my partner was not considered. You know, I'm getting depression screeners at the pediatricians, not him.
Right.
And I'm like, he's probably changing more diapers than me. He's probably waking up at night just as much as me. And, you know, and he's getting zero attention. Yeah. So we will cover a lot on dads as we go.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there for sure.
I mean, we met five years ago, and we were doing our doctoral internship, right?
Yeah.
So like we said, we are PhDs, and so we met on our internship at this medical center that basically we had spent so many years.
We worked our way up to get here.
To get right there, to get that internship, and we got it. And we landed it. And then we did our residency together.
Yeah.
And our residency was actually not anything reproductive health related. It was actually all trauma. Our residency was a trauma-focused residency. So it was a year of working with people who've experienced a variety of traumas. And we were very lucky that we got a very holistic approach to our training. We worked with psychiatrists, social work, chaplains during our residency training.
And we wanted to be specialized in trauma. That's what we wanted to do PTSD treatment. We wanted to work with people who are struggling with PTSD. I don't think never once did I consider going into the field of reproductive mental health.
No.
Because I didn't know it was a thing.
Right.
And I'm not even sure that it was, to be honest, like a few years ago. But you know, eventually we got hired at our hospital. And I got hired first at the women's clinic. And then you got hired after me. And right around the time that we are starting our jobs in the women's clinic, we gave birth. And our kids our oldest are 6 weeks apart.
Yes.
So we were experiencing motherhood, and we were working at a women's clinic and working with women who are struggling with all kinds of things. And here I am. I walked into the clinic thinking, I'm a women's issues expert. Like, I know everything about women's issues. Like, and then I had my first child. And I was like, I feel like I was only scratching the surface on women's issues. And so I came back to work, and started working in the women's clinic right after giving birth. Or, you know, I had my 3 months off, which I'm very fortunate to have had. And then I was working with moms that were struggling. Yeah. And I'm like, girl, yeah, me too.
And I think, you know, we made this decision to leave our jobs. You've left. I'm in the process of leaving. And we made that decision partially because we just have seen how it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Not only was the work that we were not doing enough, it wasn't also enough time with our kids. And the women's clinic that we're at was a group of badass providers. Like the best team you could possibly imagine.
It was a bunch of badass women doing a bunch of badass shit for other women. Yeah. I mean, we killed it. Grants, projects, I'm bringing in trainings. Let's get this training. Let's do this. Let's do this advocacy. We're doing amazing stuff. And a lot of that was because we were becoming moms at the same time that we were like working in this women. We're like, oh my God, the amount of things that women need is a lot.
Right.
And luckily, I mean, I think, you know, and you and I have talked about this, I think both of us can really go to sleep at night knowing that We did some badass stuff in that clinic.
I will always look back on this period of my life and feel very proud.
Yeah.
Feel very, very proud of the work that we did and the infrastructure that we also built within that
The
work.
infrastructure we left behind.
Yes,
Yeah.
the infrastructure that we left behind and the work we did, amazing work.
And the lives that we impacted. I can genuinely say we helped a lot of moms through a lot of hard things.
Yeah. And what I hope this conveys to those that are listening to this is that we essentially had our dream job. We worked our butts off to get to this medical center in a position that was trauma focused. Then we got to specialize in women's health and did this like combination of women's health and trauma and all this reproductive mental health with an incredible team that you just don't see that happen in such a large medical center where you have an interdisciplinary team of primary care, gynecology, social work, chaplain, everyone, nutrition, like this amazing team, and we still decided to walk away from it.
Yeah.
We still decided to walk away, which I think some people would think we're a little crazy for doing.
Yes.
But another thing I really want to convey is that you and I are both in very similar situations in terms of leaving our jobs, but we're also in no way saying that that's what other people should do. Like in no way, right? And actually the research and all the data supports that the happiest moms, the happiest women are the ones who are doing what they want to do.
Right.
So girl, you want to work full time? Work full time. We've worked with moms who are like, I actually felt better going back to work, right? Because it gives a sense of purpose. You get a break from kids because I will tell you right now.
Just to drink a cup of coffee without being interrupted.
Yes, to have your lunch by yourself.
Right.
Right.
And peace and quiet.
My job as a mom is 100% harder than my job as a psychologist. 100%.
Yeah.
And so some women want to go back to work full time. Some women want part time. Some women want to stay home, right? And so this is not a means of being like, well, this is what you should be doing. What you should be doing is what you want to be doing and what is feasible for your family.
Right.
And you and I are even doing something different. You are full time at home with your kids. And
kind
then
of,
working in the evenings.
Yeah.
Right? And then I am going to eventually transition to being part-time. So I'm still working 2 to 3 days a week because I think if I was home full-time with my kids, I think I would pull my hair out. I don't think I could. I think that would actually be worse for my mental health, for me personally. As much as I love my kids, I enjoy that little bit of a break where I can do my work as a psychologist and feel empowered in that setting.
Yeah.
So that is, I wanted to make that very clear.
Oh, for sure. And then I want to say, like, maybe to any moms that are listening, that if you're struggling with the same things here, think about what maybe, some third or fourth options might be. Because it might not just be like work full time, quit my job and not work at all, or even work part time. It might be a fourth option. And that's how it was for me. It was the fourth option for me. I decided to do something less than part-time. So I still see patients in the evenings, right? And I decided to work around my like life schedule. I was like, well, what do I want? Why am I quitting this job? I'm quitting this job to prioritize my family, right? So what does that mean? My partner gets home, I make dinner, we all have dinner together, and then I see patients. And then in between patients, I'll go in there and I'll say goodnight to them. And I don't feel bad about those 10 minutes at night because I've been with them all day. So I don't care if it's 10 minutes at night. So I still have like my foot in the door in my career. And I think that was really important because I agree with you. I don't think I would have really enjoyed being 100% full-time at home. I think it was really important for me to have some sense of like myself and the things that I'm passionate about. And I love helping parents. I love helping them work through like that transition into parenthood, which is incredibly hard. So yeah, it balances out for me.
Yeah.
One stat that I forgot to mention earlier is that, I think for what we experience is actually really common. So the research says that it's the second child, not the first, that really prompts a lot of changes in the career for the mother in particular. And I would say that's 100% true for me. It's always hard handing over my kid, but it was easier with my one because, I only had to coordinate for one and his little lunches and whatever. With two, it became quite overwhelming. It was twice as much mom guilt. It was twice as many doctor's appointments. It was twice as much meal planning for that. What are they going to eat tomorrow? Like all that stuff, where it became overwhelming. So, because I know a lot of moms that I see too, when it hits number 2, that's when they start struggling with these decisions a lot.
Exactly. And you said something earlier that I want to spend a little bit of time talking about. And you were saying that part of why you're seeing patients like in the evenings is because you wanted to hold on to that sense of you, right? And so in our work together and in our work in the women's clinic and reproductive mental health, we see a lot of things that just really piss us off about the system, about what parents go through. And one of those that I know that you are especially pissed off about.
I'm very pissed off about.
Is child-focused parenting.
Child-centered, whatever you want to call it, all of that. I'm really pissed off at that. And I will say, I was very child-centered starting off. I will also say, me as a child, I was raised by a very child-centered mother. And I did that with my first child, right? And I now, like after working with moms for a long time, I'm seeing a common denominator here when it comes to postpartum depression in particular, that a lot of the moms that I work with are seeing some of the very real negative consequences of being too child-centered, meaning that every decision that they make, everything that they do, it revolves around what is the best thing here for the child. And the reason why that's such an issue for me is because in serving our children, we have left behind the health of our families. And our moms and our dads and the relationship between moms and dads. And I can honestly say too, me being a child that was raised by a child-centered mom, I wanted nothing more as a child than to see my mom be happy. I wanted her to see something. I wanted to see something that she was passionate about. I wanted to hear some music that she really liked, or see her be engaged in like a hobby that she really enjoys, or just, I wanted to see that from her. But I think because it was so focused on my happiness, I didn't. And also that sent a message to me with my first child, that this is what it means to be a mother. It's to sacrifice. It's not about your happiness anymore. It's about the kids. That's what it means to be a mother. And so here I was. And then I had my first child, and I have one of those like little Montessori, delivery things where they deliver, it's like a little subscription box where they deliver Montessori toys. And so I have one of those. My child was like 6 months old, and I'm getting off like an 8-hour shift. I'm like super tired, burnt out, hearing trauma stories all day. And then I'm playing with my kid, because that's what the thing says to do. These toys come with like little booklets. And the booklets say, okay, so sit down with your kid and then show them, to help them learn object permanence, you show them the ball, right? And then you put the ball through the hole, and then the ball comes back out of the hole. And then that's how they learn object permanence. And so I'm sitting there tired, so tired, burnt out. The dishwasher hasn't been emptied out. The dishes are piling up in the sink. And I'm just like, look at this ball. We're going to put this ball here. Look, the ball came back out. And then I'm just like, look, it's object permanence. And just like, oh my God. Why? I don't want to do this. And it's just like and I did that for like a whole year, dude. For a whole year, I sat there like, oh, this is going to enrich my child. It's going to make him smart. It's going to I don't want him to fall behind his peers because he never learned object permanence. And it's like, oh my gosh. And like, when have you ever seen an 8-year-old that hasn't learned object permanence? Everybody learns object permanence at some point. Why am I doing this stupid ball in this stupid hole? And then I realized after a while, this is not sustainable. I can't do this. I am not happy doing this. And that's when I started to realize, and I started to realize too, that a lot of the moms that I saw, not just my own patients, but other moms that I saw in my neighborhood and stuff, were all just like struggling with this. Like every time we meet up, it's like, what are you doing for your kid? Oh, you're using this. Oh, have you heard about this subscription? And it's just like every conversation we have is about our kids.
And we see, at least me, I'm assuming you also have seen this with our patients.
Yes.
One of the things I always ask my patients is, what do you do for you?
Right.
And so seldomly do I actually have a patient who has hobbies.
Yeah.
And usually their response is, well, I don't really do anything for me because I'm so busy with my kids' stuff.
Right.
And it's not to say that the kids' stuff isn't important. There's a
It
time and a
is.
place. But, you know, you were talking about postpartum depression. The leading cause of death in the first year postpartum, the leading cause of death in the first year postpartum is mental health related things. It's either
insane.
suicide or drug overdose.
Yep.
That is preventable. And that is something that makes me so angry
Right.
because this is preventable. But we don't talk about it. We don't have the resources for it. And now that there's this culture that is so heavily shifted towards forget about yourself as the parent, it's all about the child now.
Right.
And I think, I mean, this is just my own hypothesis, but I really think that that is contributing to depression.
Oh, 100%. I really do think so. And I think, when I'm working with my patients too, I think what happens to moms over time is that we're getting this pressure from so many places that you should be child-centered.
Right.
In fact, if you're not, you're probably not a good mom if you're not very child-centered.
Right.
And so that leads to so much guilt for every mom that decides to take 2 freaking seconds for herself to go do something. And so I think part of what we do a lot in our sessions is just to, and I don't even know if this is the right word, but just to give permission
Yes.
to mothers to say, and fathers, to say, you can do something for yourself, actually. And actually, you need to.
Yes. And so you and I are actually different in this, in that you have always been very child-centered, and naturally, I am not.
Yeah.
So I think I have too many hobbies, actually, and I could quit my job and just do hobbies full-time, and I would be totally fine with that. I'd be totally okay with that. But it was interesting, actually, what you were saying in terms of how you were raised, right? Because you were raised by someone who had your mom had a very child-centered approach. And it made me actually think about how my parents did not. We tease my mom about this. So I promise she's heard this before. This is not just like me teasing her on this podcast. She's probably maybe also the only person listening, so hi. But my mom and both of my parents, they love baseball. They love baseball. And when we were kids, they were in like a co-ed softball league together. So like when it was time for like their practices, their games, like me and my 3 siblings, we were just coming along and this is what we're doing today. It doesn't matter, right? Nothing else is scheduled because it is softball night.
Yeah.
And they would listen to, they would watch baseball all the time and they would listen to it on the radio. I tell people that now and they're like, I didn't even know you could listen to baseball on the radio. I'm like, yes, you can. And it was on basically 24/7 during baseball season. Yeah. And as a child, I thought I was going to lose my mind. I really did. And to this day, I still hate baseball. And maybe that's why for my kids, I'm like, no, you guys, my boys, you can't play baseball.
Yeah.
But I have these memories because for my parents, it was like how they coped and what they enjoyed. And us as kids, like maybe I wanted to like cry a little bit because I was like, I'm so over listening to baseball. Yeah. But for them, it was their thing, right? And as an adult, I appreciate that so much. And as a child, it did not actually affect me. I'm being dramatic, right? It was just like, dang it, we're listening to baseball again. But it is what it is, right? And I think I saw that healthy balance within my parents. And so for me, as a parent, there are times where I'm like, nope, this is what we're doing tonight. It's not for you all. This is for me.
Right.
Like since my oldest son, since he was maybe 2 or 3 months old, essentially once I got medically cleared to be able to work out after my first child, he was coming to the gym with me. And he was hanging out in his stroller. And you know, as he got older, this is when you get your screen time or you're just going to hang out and eat snacks. And is this like super enriching for you as my child? No. But it is enriching for me.
Yes.
And that is incredibly important.
That is incredibly important.
Because I am a better mom.
Absolutely.
When I am exercising, when I am doing something for myself that I feel like myself again.
Yeah.
And I can get back to who I am.
Yeah.
I am such a better mom.
Oh, for sure. And I'll give some like hard examples of how I made that transition from being child-centered to more family-centered, meaning that like what's going to be the best decision for our family, not for specifically and only our child. And one of the things that I decided to do is that I don't play freaking child music anytime. My kids do not know what Baby Shark is. They don't know anything about any child songs because I don't want to listen to freaking Baby Shark. So we're not listening to Baby Shark.
What are you listening to?
I'm listening to Bad Bunny. And they know the entire album from start to finish of Bad Bunny. They know the whole album. And the fun part is that, you know, this really does something for me in terms of like the mom that I saw myself being, is that when I put on Bad Bunny in the morning and I'm making breakfast for them, right? I love it. So I'm like dancing around and I'm making fucking breakfast for them and whatever. And they see that. And so now they love Bad Bunny. And I know it because as soon as I turn it on, they stop what they're doing and they like look and they're like, wait. And they'll go and sometimes I see them. I have like videos of them dancing. And that is so much more important than Baby Shark. Like, you know? And it's just little things like that you don't think are really like, you know, family focused, but they are. And so when I think about, I was actually thinking about this last night when I was like, well, what are some things that I run into like with my patients that I feel like, you know, they're too child-centered, and they're causing some kind of mental health side effect of this, right? Because I will say it's not always the case, right? But that is a common denominator that we're noticing. Yeah. And the other thing I'll say too, before I go into this, is that, you know, child-centered parenting has had a wave. I think we're maybe peaking right now in child-centered parenting. I think it came about in a response to something really good, which is that, you know, in the 80s and 90s and before that, it was mostly focused on like authoritative, like parenting, very, you know, like listen to me, you do what I say kinds of things, and kind of bulldozing through the kids' emotions and stuff like that. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, because I was going to say, I think, like you're saying, it started from a very good place.
It started with good intentions.
And there are really good aspects of it, right? But like you said, I think it's just gone out of hand. Yeah. And before you dive into this, one thing I was thinking is, I wonder how much things like marketing have to do with child-focused therapy. Because good Lord, the number of times people are like, you have to buy this subscription, or, you know, and your child has to know all these different things before they get to kindergarten. Right. And my program is the one that's going to get them there. Yeah. Or this toy is going to be the toy that transforms your life. And it's all about your child.
This toy doesn't have any lights. Don't buy lights for your kids. It's going to cause all these things.
Yeah, it's like you're constantly being marketed to, and it's like, everything. It's just so overwhelming. Yeah. And as a parent, you're constantly getting these messages like, I need to do this thing for my kid. I need this subscription. I need to do that thing. I need to take them to this place. And I think a combination of social media and marketing has really screwed us into thinking that everything has to be about our kids, without forgetting that like the most important thing for our child is our relationship with them, like us. I am the most important thing to my boys, me and my husband. Not some toy, not some subscription. Yeah. And in order for me to be the best thing for them, I have to be happy with myself. Absolutely. I have to enjoy my life with them and without them.
And I don't think it's optional.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
You really do have to focus on the satisfaction of the parents involved, of yourself, and all of that. I think a lot of the parents that I work with too, when I ask them like, well, what did you like doing before you had kids, or what are some hobbies you have? They can't come up with anything, because they've been, especially if they're on their like second or third child, they have completely forgotten what brings them joy, what brings them creativity, what brings them pleasure, what brings them
outside of their kids.
Outside of their kids.
Your kids do bring you those things. But outside of that, who are you?
Yeah, it's this idea of like losing, especially when it comes to moms, losing the woman in the process of becoming the mother. And I think when you completely lose your attachment with that woman that you were before you gave birth, that's when all these things come into play, all these negative consequences of that in terms of mental health.
Yeah.
So I'll give you some examples of like what some of the things that I thought of. I was laying in bed and I was like, I know I have so many examples of this. Like I often hear parents that will take care of their kids all day, and then once the kids go to bed, then they'll clean up the house. And I'm like, no. So you're telling me you spend all day taking care of your kids, and then like the 2 hours that you have at the end of the day, you're spending it cleaning. That sucks. And so we talk about like, well, what other times are there? Can you go watch the kids outside and then your husband cleans up inside? Or can you guys switch off every other day so that the house is clean by the time the kids go to sleep, so that you and your partner can sit down on the couch and just have some one-on-one time with each other? Not cleaning dishes, not none of that. And I think there's like this almost like, oh, I can't do it because I'm watching the kids. That's okay. Like we can figure this out. Even if they're not enriched for an hour of their life so that you can clean up the kitchen, that hour that you get with your partner at the end of the day in this very chaotic time in life and this life stage is incredibly important. It can make all the difference, right? If you make this a habit, it can make all the difference.
Actually, before you go into the next part, I think that there's also a difference between enriched and entertained.
Ooh, that's a good one, yeah.
Because I think so often we feel this need to entertain our kids. But if, for example, if you're like cleaning the kitchen and your partner is off with the kids, right? They are enriched by that relationship that they get with their dad. And those moments, it's just like, oh, it's just me and my dad, right?
Right.
And maybe they're not being entertained in the same way, right? Or they are cleaning with you, right?
Sure.
Like my toddler will empty the dishwasher with me. He loves it. He freaks out if I empty the dishwasher without him. It's a whole thing, right? He's like, I need to do this with you, right? So am I really like entertaining him in the way that most people think of, you know, our children need to be entertained? No, but this is enriching because he's learning. Yeah. And I think that there is a big difference between those things.
Yeah. Wow. I could do a whole different episode on that. Like how our own discomfort with boredom sometimes leads to this like over entertainment of our own children that is driving us insane, you know?
And I'm sorry, I know you have more, but I had another thought that I'm like, I can't get past this. As you were talking about this, I just thinking about single parents.
Oh my gosh.
Single moms and single dads. Like, oh gosh, I am pissed off for you. Yeah. Like, because you're talking about like, yeah, of course, one of you is playing with the kids and one of you is cleaning. And that way you get that time to yourself in the evening. When the fuck do single parents have that time?
I have no idea.
I don't know how you do it. I genuinely sit here and I'm like, wow, I have so much respect, but also I have so much respect for what you're doing, but I also feel so deeply sad and pissed off for you.
Oh my gosh.
Because how are you supposed to have a life?
I remember we talked to a single mom one time and she was like, I actually don't really even remember the first 4 years of my kid's life. I was just dissociative during that whole time. And she was a single mom. I was like, oh my gosh.
Because how do you not dissociate during that?
No,
like
I don't
just
know.
disconnect.
Really
You're in survival mode at all times.
No, yeah. So another ones I wrote down was like taking too long to decide to give formula to your baby.
Interesting.
You're just killing yourself trying to like breastfeed. And the pressure is not always internal, right? Like for me, I've told you this, I love breastfeeding. I would have bent over backwards to keep breastfeeding.
So weird. You're so weird.
I love it. I would have done everything to breastfeed. I'm still breastfeeding. My baby's 14 months old, still breastfeeding.
You told me that the first time and I was like, I don't know how I feel about you now. I just, who does that? Who loves breastfeeding? I don't understand.
We both struggled our first time around with like production and all this stuff. And I did everything to make sure that I breastfed, but it was important to me. I loved it. I wanted to do it. But I think some of the moms that I see, they're just doing it from external pressure, right? Because it's like, you know, breast is best, breast is best, breast is best. And it's just like this like intense, like I can't not do it. So taking too long to just say, this is impacting me so much that it's having more negative consequences than giving my baby breast milk could.
Right. Well, because think about it, right? Biologically, is breast milk like better, right? And if you're listening to this and not watching it, I mean, I have air quotes, right? Better. And nutrient dense wise, absolutely nobody can argue that it is. But mom's health is also so wildly important.
Yeah.
And if you're breastfeeding or pumping and just exhausting yourself to the point where it's contributing to depression, contributing to anxiety, then fuck the nutrients.
Yeah.
Because formula is great. It is a great option.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right? Your child is not going to be harmed because they have formula. I promise you, in 5 years, no one is going to know the difference.
No.
It's different if you want to try and breastfeed, if this is something that, like you said, you're passionate about, right, that you want to do, then yes, we want to be able to get you the resources and the support to be able to do it. But if you're at the point where I'm just doing this because of the pressure that I feel, nah, girl.
Yeah.
No.
I'll give like 2 or 3 more examples, but you know, playgrounds. I freaking hate playgrounds. They're designed to control parents.
What?
Like, what in the world? Like, you just go to a freaking playground and I just go and I'm just like, and it's freaking hot. It's always hot. And I'm just sitting there and I'm watching my kids and every 5 seconds they're trying to kill themselves. And every time they do something great, I have to be like, yay. And like, it's just, oh my gosh. And there's nothing there for me to do. There's nothing for me to do at this stupid playground. And then they want to go every day. And it's just, I hate playgrounds. I've sworn off play. I haven't been to the playground in like a minute at this point. I just hate playgrounds.
You know what I wish? I wish that the United States had it figured out like they do. I don't know about all of Europe, but in Spain.
Oh, yeah.
Me and my husband were in Spain with our toddler a year ago. And it was like there's a playground here and a restaurant
That's what I'm
or
talking
bar
about.
right here.
That's
And
what I'm talking about.
They are practically arm's length away.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, y'all
Now you can go play.
You
We're
figured
going to
it
be at the
out.
playground every day now. Yeah.
Where is that in the United States? Someone
Yeah.
tell me if that exists somewhere because I will move there.
Yeah.
That just sounds like heaven.
Yeah.
Where I'm like,
for
I
sure.
can just sit here and chill and eat a meal, have a glass of wine.
Right. Yeah. And
my
there are
kids
a lot
can
of
play.
countries like that are more family focused. And apparently, you know, I think just in America, we really struggle with that a lot. Making places that are good for the family, right? Because there'll be places that are like, oh, family friendly. It's not family friendly. It's built for your child, not for the family. That's very different. And also, you know, like not sleep training sometimes, especially if you had a child like my first that was up every hour and a half. Every hour and a half at night for weeks. Every hour and a half because he was colicky and he had like all these other things. So like, I mean, that is just sleep train at that point. Like, I mean, it's
For your own sanity.
for your own sanity and your partner's.
Well, but also for that actually is also for the baby, right? Because
True.
if he's waking up every hour and a half, depending on how old he is, right? There's all those
Right.
caveats, right? Because when they're, you know,
Yeah.
a week old, of course they're waking up every hour and a half, every 2 hours. But as they get older, having that like uninterrupted sleep can actually benefit them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know sleep training is there's all
Very
these debates.
controversial.
Oh, yes, it's very
There's
controversial.
evidence for and against it and all
Yes,
these
and we're not
things.
saying cry it out. It's not what we mean, right? But we both sleep trained our
Yeah.
firsts.
We did
I have
not use the
sleep-
cry it out method.
No, I have not sleep trained my second because he's actually a great sleeper. So,
Oh, yeah.
God, I think
All
I've
right, now
hit the
every
jackpot.
freaking person listening to this hates you.
I
They
know.
immediately tuned off. They're
I know,
like,
and that's
okay,
fine.
well,
You can hate me. You can stay mad. I hit the jackpot with my baby.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The last examples I'll give is just like toys with small pieces.
Yes.
You're just like, oh, my baby can stack them. That's fine. He can just like never learn stacking. It's fine. Like, oh my gosh. Because then I have to clean it all up. I have to clean up all these freaking little small pieces for everything and the freaking magnetiles
Right,
and
you're
all this
on
stuff.
your hands and knees and you're like
Yeah.
crawling around trying to get all these pieces.
Yeah.
And then your toddler helps, but with
Oh,
like
yeah.
one piece. Here, Mom, I'm helping you.
I do it. Oh, thanks, buddy. Oh my gosh. Not traveling, especially if you're, you know, if
yeah.
you're like me, I love travel. That's all I did before I had kids. And then being like, you know, I can't travel now because of the kids. And that is very child-centered in that, oh, they're going to freak out. They're going to, you know, whatever. And I know there's a lot of, I still get anxious. Gosh, we're taking a trip like across the state at the end of the month. And it's like, oh my gosh, like it's going to cut into the nap. And what if they're overtired and they're going to cry and all this stuff. But we're doing this for me and for them, actually, because they're
Yes.
getting to meet their great-great-grandpa, which is incredibly important. We don't have a lot of time left. You know, I want a picture of them with their great-grandpa. And so, you know, they'll have to deal with it. They'll have to learn how to travel a little bit. So, yeah. And then, you know, oh, and this is a big one. Waking up to work out early. I know that a lot of people do this. I know this one is scandalous. Okay. I know that people are like, wait a minute, I do that.
No, not I do. I do that.
I know.
You know that I do this like every day.
And I thought about it. I was like, I should wake up early and I should make breakfast for them so everything is set. And I was like, wait a second. I don't want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That sucks.
Okay, well, I don't wake up for that. I do not wake up so I usually, especially before my second, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and I go to the gym at 5 religiously.
Yeah.
It has definitely changed since my second because you know he's a good sleeper, but he wakes up very early in the morning, like once, and then he goes back to sleep. So usually I'm like, no, I'm not going to the gym today.
Yeah.
But this is what I do every day.
I hate it. Oh my God. I thought about it and I was like, no, they will work out with me. I'm not waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I do. So then when I do this like little like routine, when I put my second one down for his afternoon nap, me and my oldest will work out. And I got little 2-pound dumbbells for him. So he's right next to me doing a home workout and we're just working out together. And I'm like, this is a lot better. So now he actually kind of looks forward to it. And he's like, I want to work out. I want workout
that
time.
is cute.
You know, and I only did that because like, I'm going to figure out a way to work out that doesn't involve me waking up, you know, that early, because that sucks for me. I don't want to do that. And so that's been kind of a cool bonding experience, like a little one-on-one time for me and him. And more importantly, and I know you talk about this a lot, he gets to see me work on my physical health. And I want him to see that. And I don't want that to be a private experience where it's like, take the kids so I can go work out. No, I want him to see me work out. So he can learn that this is a habit that is important and things like that. So.
Yeah. And I grew up with that. I grew up watching my parents work out, especially my mom, because she was a stay-at-home mom. So she would have her little like exercise videos and we would do them with her. It was actually a lot of fun. And now I do that with my kids on the weekends. They come with me if I go to the gym on the weekends. Right. Other times I go at 5 in the morning. You came for me on that one. Yeah. I still stand by that. If you want to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and go work out, do it.
Then do it. Whatever brings it. You know, it all goes back to that research you said, right? It's the choice.
Right.
It's the choice. And I will say, so a lot of the stuff that, you know, we talked about, it's not always possible, right? Yes. Like you talked about, like, what about single parents? Or, you know, maybe there's certain things going on. But think about ways that you can focus on the mental health of the family. Think about how you can be creative with that. And I think that'll make a really big difference in America today with all the parents really struggling with parenthood. I mean, there is a mental health, you can go to whitehouse.gov. There is a maternal mental health crisis documented by the White House several years ago. So it's a big deal. And I think that was a big kind of motivator for us as reproductive mental health psychologists to talk about this. And some of the stuff that we'll talk about here is from a psychologist standpoint, from the research, and some of the stuff that we'll talk about, like you just heard, is just from my own experience or your own experience. So
yeah. And I think something that's very important to take away from all of this is that we are operating as parents in a broken system, but we as parents, as moms, as psychologists, professionals, all the things, whoever you are not broken.
Right.
But the system that you are operating in is broken. Yeah. And I think that
there's a lot of research to document that too. There was a study done in 2013 and another one in 2016 that said that child-centered parenting leads to higher parental stress, anxiety and depression in mothers, and feelings of inadequacy and guilt and feelings of loss. And this is documented in the research. So what we were experiencing, and this is something that I looked up after the fact, right? Because I was feeling this in the sessions with my patients. I was feeling this at home. And then the research actually does support that. Child-centered parenting has gone too far. So that's what I'm pissed off about.
And if you're also pissed off, good. We hope that you come back. There will be other topics that we talk about that will also probably piss you off as it has us. What are we going to be talking about next time?
I think next time we're going to be focusing a little bit on is the therapist that you're seeing
or the OBGYN
do they know anything about reproductive mental health? Do they know enough about maternal mental health? Do they know enough about paternal mental health? Do they know enough about all of these things related to mental health? And we're going to talk about some ways that you can identify like when you're struggling too, so that you can reach out to a specialist, and then we'll also give you resources for how to do that. So that's what we'll be talking about next time.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, the short answer is no. The short answer is no.
Yeah.
But we are going to talk all about that in our next episode.
Yeah.
And because we're therapists, because we're psychologists, what do you want people to take away from today? Like, what do you want them to go out and do, their action item?
Yeah. I think what I really want people to take away, whether you agree with me or not, right, on child-centered parenting, is to check in with a parent and see how they are doing. And not like, hey, are these wipes any good? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about check in with them, see how are you doing? And then the other thing is do something for yourself this week, or for your family, right?
And that might just be saying no to something that is overscheduled, overplanned. Just say no.
Yeah, just say no.
And you can back out. I back out on you all the time. I'm like, sorry, I'm not coming over tonight. I am maxed out. My bad. Yeah. I'll see you next time. Say no to someone. Say no to something.
Say no to something, or say yes to something. Right? Say yes to something that is about the family's mental health, about your mental health, and not necessarily focused on the child. Because I think in terms of helping the parental mental health crisis that's going on today, taking care of the family is the best thing that we can do to take care of the children. So that's my little action, my little call to action.
There we go.
For today.
Well, thank you all for listening to our first episode of Not Your Mother's Therapist. That's exciting.
Yeah.
You can find us on all of the podcast streaming apps.
Yep.
You can find us, let's hope I don't screw this up, on Instagram at Not Your Mother's Therapist Podcast. TikTok.
Yeah.
We have a TikTok, Not Your Mother's Therapist Podcast, and at Not Your Mother's Therapist Podcast at gmail.com. That is a mouthful. But you can find us on all the things. So please do. And we hope that you all come back.
Yeah. See you next week.
This podcast is hosted by licensed therapists, but it is not a substitute for therapy. The content is for informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute professional advice or a therapeutic relationship. If you are in need of mental health support, we encourage you to consult a licensed mental health provider in your area.